Always read the title of the graph, whether it is table, bar or line graph. Number of tourists visiting a Caribbean island, same thing, they have given it from question statement. Now you can see there are, the first thing you will be looking at, there are 3 line graph. Okay, what is the meaning of these line graph? Let's read it. This kind of line graph, this box is visitors staying on cruise ships. Okay, and these visitors staying on island, the second one. Total circle, this is total number of visitors. Okay, now as what you can see, okay, 7 years are there and millions of visitors. The data is presented in millions of visitors. Okay, from 0 to 4 millions. Okay, now what you can see overall, what you can see overall, we can see that every graph is growing. So this graph has started from here to here, this lot of fluctuations, and then at least from here to here it is growing, and this also, this is growing and growing. Only at one place this dipped, otherwise it is growing and growing. Okay, now we know the trend is growing on, no graph is going down. Okay, so another striking point is here it is cutting. Here at this point these two graphs are cutting each other. Okay, you can write it if you want. Okay, so everyone is starting from, in the first period, in the first year, you have to explain from where they had started, and the last also where they had stopped at the last year, what is the condition about the last year. Okay, within that you can combine 2 years. In this way you can show, always explain about first year and always explain the latest condition, the last year condition about the growth, and combine 2 years. Okay, or somewhere if you want you can combine 3 years also. Now this is line graph. Basically you need to analyze the graph here, the line graphs, and you need to write. How you will write and what are the vocabulary words, I will be showing it now. Yes, figures, whatever the figures are showing, for showing these figures you will be using the word figures, but not in every sentence. Figures showing, or figures, the figure for this year accounted to or amounted to, so you can use the word past tense, accounted to, amounted to. Okay, sharply, so when there is a rise in there is a rise or decline in graph, so you can use these adverbs: sharply, suddenly, rapidly, dramatically, significantly, steadily, considerably. And you can use, or you can use the word sharp decline, sudden, gradual decline, steep decline, or you can use you can use these words. Okay, what about, I will tell you what are these things. Okay, so you can see this is a graph kind of thing I have made. So when a graph is going like that, you can say the word upward. Upward means a rise, increase, climb, growth, go up, decrease. So when graph is going down, decrease, a drop, fall, decline. Okay, so you can use the word upward trend. When it is going down, you can say downward trend, downside. Okay, so downward I have written it here. Okay, when there is a situation like that, you can use the word plateaued. Okay, means it is stable over here. When there is from here it is going down but very little, at a less speed, then you can say slightly declined. Okay, so these words. And another word I will be showing it, remain steady. So for this you can use the word remain steady or remain unchanged. Okay, so use these words in your graph. Now coming to the this line graph, how we are going to write this line graph. First, of course, in introduction, so there are 4 paragraphs here. Definitely we will make 4 paragraphs. Okay, first paragraph will be introduction. Introduction here means you have to paraphrase the question statement, and you will be telling the data is represented in millions, so this millions of tourists. Okay, second will be overall paragraph. What you can see, what you can tell by overlooking this graph, that is overall paragraph. Okay, but don't use any figures. In overall paragraph, second paragraph, don't use any figures. In general, what you can say about, like I told you, this is going, every graph is having upward trend, nobody is going down, okay. So but you can use it, the things like another striking point, it is cutting each other at somewhere else, you can use the words also. So I will tell you how to write in overall also. Now third will be body paragraph 3 plus body paragraph 4 about the details. So it also how you are going to add details. So you can go according to the year wise, or you can write according to the graph wise. So if you take this first graph, this one, then you will be talking about first graph by taking these years separately, or you can combine the 2 or 3 years, but you need to tell how it started and how it finished. That is more important, okay. Either you take year wise, or you go for graph wise separately and taking into years, okay, and comparing within the year wise, okay. Now let's go to see the introduction, how I have written the introduction. You can see it. So this is the thing, but we will read the question statement first, then I will show. The graph below shows the number of tourists. So what I have written, the line graph, because they have not given the type of the line graph, we will be writing the line graph depicts, instead of shows I have changed the vocabulary, depicts how many. So here they have given the number of tourists, so we have I have used how many visitors. So instead of tourists, I have changed the word visitors, okay. Visitors travel to the renowned Caribbean, so C should be capital here, Caribbean island over the 7-year span, or 7-year time period, you can use it, okay. So here between 2010 and 17. Now while, because we know there are 3 graphs, visitors staying on cruise ships, visitors staying on island, and third is total. So while some tourists remained on the island, so we are telling the category of line graphs also, while others were on we can erase this, because while 2 times, some tourists remained on the island while others were on the cruise ships. The statistical data, that is more important. The statistical data is presented in millions of visitors, okay. This is your introduction, you can see this. So how we have used, we have paraphrased the question statement, and we have told the category of line graph, and the data is represented in millions, okay. Now coming to the overall, what we can see, I already told upward trend is there, no line graph is going down, and of course some fluctuations in this graph and this graph also. So overall, so what we can use it, overall it can be clearly seen that the total number of visitors visiting the Caribbean island increased from the initial year to the last period. Simple language I have used it. Visiting the Caribbean island increased from the initial year to the last period. Additionally, the trend for staying on cruise ships was lower than that for those, because as you can see, the first one is visiting staying on cruise ships, and visitors, second one is this, okay. So the trend initially in first year, it was less than that, staying on cruise ship was less than staying on island, okay. You can see this. Additionally, the trend for staying on cruise ship was lower than that for those choosing to stay on island during the time period. You can use time period. Throughout the years also you can use it, okay. Now details, we will be writing about details. So you can see, I will just talk first about this graph, okay. Total number, the total number of arrivals Arrivals means those who arrived on the island. So a steady rise starting at 1 million in 2010. So you can see starting this is 1 million. Okay, 1 million, because I am going to talk about this line first. 1 million started in 2010 and gradually increased to 2.7 million by 2015. Now after 2010, I have explained, gradually increased, slow by slow, it year wise it was going up. So it gradually increased up to 2015, but in 2010 it was plateaued. You can see this. Okay, not in 10, sorry, 16. This is 16. This increased, had considerably increased, showing the figures at, okay, but I have not used that plateaued, but you can write this sentence. This increased had this had considerably increased, showing the figures at 3.5 million in 2017. After this word, yeah, I have used plateaued for a year. So in 1 year it was plateaued. You can see this in 2016. In 2015 it was like that, but in 2016 in 1 year it was plateaued, means it was stable. So that I have written in 2017 after plateauing for a year. Okay, so this is complete explanation about the first line. Okay, now coming to the cruise ships, we will talk about these cruise ships. So this is cruise ships. Fluctuations, it started with lowest and it rose and then fluctuation and then going up and going. So in 2010 the figures amounted to or accounted to 0.2 million for the number of visitors in cruise ships. So this is explanation of the line graph, which fluctuated until soaring to 2 millions by the end of the period. So which fluctuated, so this is 2 million, this line, and which fluctuated, and fluctuated means we have not explained any figures which had fluctuated until 2 millions in the last 2000 years. So which until soaring means going up to 2 million by the end of the period, that is 2017. You can write it. Now however, at the end of the beginning of the graph, okay, so however now we will talk about another this one, center one, we staying on the island. It started with this 0 point around 1 and fluctuated and going down and then going down. Okay, however, so I have used contrastal language. However, at the beginning of the graph 2010 there were roughly 0.8 million visitors who chose to spend their holiday on the island. So this is blue line is the last category, this number. So however, at the beginning of the graph means 2010 there were roughly 0.8 million. Roughly means that is not correct. So why I have used the word roughly? Because you can see correct information 1 and 0.5, between that we can just assume this must be 8. So that's why we have used the word roughly. Visitors who chose to spend their holiday on the island, this number rose to only 1.5 million during the next 3 years. You can see this. By the end of the specified time, that is 2007, this figured, which had seen a little decline and then recovered, which accounted to 1.5 million visitors or tourists, because it is given with the data. So by the end of this period 2017, it finished at 1.5 million. By the end of the specified time, this figured, which had seen a little decline and then recovered, little decline, you can see little decline and then recovered, which accounted to 1.5 million tourists. Okay, so this graph is complete. So simple way I have completed it, I have written it, so you can easily write it like that. You can see the graph again, answer again, and you can see this vocabulary also. Thank you so much.